Good morning. Another day with the three-man weave. A beautiful day in paradise here on the SBR College Basketball Show. We are the three-man weave. That's right. It is hosted by our friends at sportsbookreview.com. Thank you to them as always for the work they do to get us set up here. We just smile here and spout whatever we say, and they do all the hard work behind the scenes. So thank you to them. Smash the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/SBR Sports. And also check out sbrpicks.com/NCAAB. The URL is plastered at the top of the screen here. So check that out for lots of other great resources. And of course, sbrodds.com. We live to compare lines to price shop and highly encourage you to do the same. Welcome to the Tuesday show. Matt and Ky, let's talk quick Monday night takeaways. Ky, I will go to you first. What do you have for me?
Jim, in true takeaway fashion, we're going to start with a slight rant, and this one's about East Tennessee State's three-point shooting. Yes, VMI was my best bet yesterday. Yes, I'm a little bit sore about it. ETSU, though, guys, 16 for 30 from three last night. They came into the game shooting under 30% for the year. It's a little bit of bad luck. That's the way the cookie crumbles. We're moving on. Also, second take, Baylor. Holy cow, guys. They're pretty close to even with Gonzaga now for me. The Bears can do no wrong, Matthew. They are a fantastic basketball team.
Yeah, I'm still not ready to anoint them in the Gonzaga super premium first class bunch, but they are right there in the probably row or two behind. Bears were awesome. Let's pour one out for all Baylor backers who had to watch Mr. Tehan bank one in from 45. That is the perils of gambling. Jim, my takeaway comes from the undercard, Mississippi Valley State. This team is bad and then some. They are now 3-9 against the spread. We've known this. Typically, I guess the way I'm inclined to think about handicapping is looking for opportunities to buy low or sell high. There is no floor for this team. They were without two of their best players, lost by 40 last night to Southern. I know the folks following on ESPN were probably confused how they were up 15, but the score was flipped. So that was a nice development for those Southern backers out there. They get Prairie View A&M, my SWAC, pet team, and Texas Southern in the next two games. I can't imagine the odds makers making that spread high enough. So I would just tread lightly on backing the Delta Devils, although I assume no one in this form has even dared to wander into that terrible, treacherous cave of dark and despair. Yeah. Not a good team.
Would not recommend it without Cunningham and Gordon. Those two guys are important for a team that has basically no one else that's important. I quick takeaway that Kansas actually kind of impressed me a little bit yesterday. They hung around despite some real haymakers from Baylor.
Yeah,
I agree with Ky. I think Baylor is on that level. But Kansas cut it to 5 a few times late. They made some shots, and it's okay, they're not going down without a fight, which is impressive against the team of Baylor's caliber. So small tip of the cap to Kansas. It kind of reminded me of Iowa against Gonzaga, where clearly one team was a class above, but Iowa kept punching back and sort of hung around. So props to them. But let's get into the Tuesday night slate, not belabor this any longer. We will start with my darling Nate Oates, the thumbnail cover of this video. Alabama heading on the road to LSU. Huge matchup down in the Bayou in the SEC. Alabama's been on an absolute tear. They've covered 6 of their last 7, and the other was a push. So undefeated against the spread in their last 7. And last year they were 6-2 against the number in January. So it seems like this is kind of the times when Nate Oates' teams get it. Let's go to Ky first. Do they stay rolling tonight?
Jim, I think they do. Possibly the hottest team in the country is Alabama right now. Since their loss to Western Kentucky on December 19th, they are 7-0 straight up and 7-0 against the spread. They've jumped from 56th to 17th in KenPom. The tide is rolling, Jim, and that's why they are my best bet tonight. A quick best bet for Ky here. Alabama +1, best bet at LSU. Herb Jones, guys, played through injury against Arkansas. That is very encouraging. I expect him to play tonight against LSU. That's huge for Alabama. LSU barely escaped South Carolina. Something about that team scares me, and I think it's on the defensive end, guys. Alabama and LSU, otherwise, Alabama and LSU pretty evenly matched teams. The difference is defense. Alabama's defense is actually very good, 16th in the country per KenPom. LSU's is not, 107th in the country per KenPom. Not a good defensive team. I'm riding the hot team here. I'm rolling with the tide. Matthew.
My only concern about Bama's defense here is on the glass. But we believe there's no Jordan Bruner tonight, correct? He's out for some
not
time.
Back, yep.
He's been their primary 5-man in that sort of perimeter-oriented, spread-out attack. He's a grab-and-go guy, gets it off the glass and can lead the break. That's what makes him such a deadly weapon. I think they'll need him. They'll miss him tonight. LSU. I certainly don't trust their defense whatsoever, but they can absolutely score it, and it's not always pretty. They have that kind of that hedge, that backstop against poor shooting nights because they attack the offensive board so well. I think without Bruner tonight, you could see an issue where LSU grabs 10 plus offensive rebounds. If you're an Alabama backer, you're just sat there annoyed that you can't get first possession stops. I actually made LSU a slight favorite, so I'm probably the only one here not leaning toward Bama. Just a concern for any Bama backers out there.
Yeah, I'm on Alabama. I see this, this gravy train might run out soon, but against a sieve of a defense, that doesn't really, it doesn't seem like the time for me. I mean, Alabama is so well schooled about score at the rim or hit threes, and LSU doesn't make anything difficult on you. So if you want to get to the rim, you probably can, and if you want to get open threes, you probably will. So this isn't the matchup where Alabama, the money train stops flowing. So I will be with Ky. Alabama +1. Let's do it. The Bruner absence does concern me a little, but his defensive rebound rate's actually really poor for a big man.
Yeah,
it's been a group effort on the glass, and Rojas and Reese do a decent job. So I will roll with the Tide.
I was going to endorse the over, but I see it's a little too high, like a 163.5, 164. I think it should be closer to 160. So that's
what's weird? I kind of like it still, even at that price.
That number.
I think it's going to be so many points in this game.
Yeah, unless Alabama's defense continues this shocking run that it's been on. So.
Yeah. Right.
All right, let's stay in the SEC. Head on over to Gainesville, Tennessee, on the road at Florida. Another big SEC battle. No Scotty Lewis here really hurts the Gators on both ends of the floor. They've struggled lately against teams that play solid man-to-man, namely Alabama, Kentucky, Mississippi State. They got the win against Ole Miss, but that's like a wonky zone that the Gators were able to figure out. Matthew, do you think that Tennessee dominates on the road here? Look, they just fired their football coach. They need a reason to get excited. Do you think this is it?
It's a win-win for the Gipper type situation. I guess I'd get behind that. And Scotty Lewis is just so important. I think what he means to that Florida team defensively, with him for sure out tonight, it basically comes down to how much you value his presence, right? If you think there's enough talent and athletes on Florida to sort of mitigate his loss, then I think there's definitely value here at Florida. I would make it around 4 if you don't account for Lewis. But Lewis has been worth multiple points, in my opinion. Again, just the two-way value that he offers. So I think I made the line right on adjusting for Lewis's absence. I'm going to stay away here, Ky.
Yeah, Florida's lost 3 of the last 4 guys. Not looking great. Scotty Lewis maybe out again for this one.
He's definitely out.
Yeah,
confirmed, I think. Yep.
Pretty huge for a team that scoring's hard to come by in the first place. Offensively, Florida just hasn't been very good this year after Keontae Johnson's tragic fall earlier in the year. Tennessee, the number 2 defense in the country. I don't see them letting up in this game. I think the Vols kind of blow them out in this one. Stifling D, should score inside, get to the line as they always do. So I lean the Vols pretty heavily in this matchup.
Yeah, I made the number right on, but Ky, I think your last point is the key one from a matchup perspective. The Tennessee can eat in the paint, both on the offensive glass and getting to the free throw line. The numbers set up really well for them there. And Scotty Lewis, he's probably their best individual defender. He's got a ton of length. So I lean towards Tennessee, but I can't quite get there on the number. All right, let's head to Big Ten country, finally leaving the SEC. We'll come back to it, though. My Mizzou Tigers are on the outline. Purdue headed on the road to Ohio State. Guys, this is a revenge spot for the Buckeyes. They lost at Purdue without E.J. Liddell when he was out with mono earlier in the season. That's obviously concerning. Ohio State struggling at the point guard spot, though, right now. C.J. Walker out. Jimmy Soto's questionable. They've gotten a lift from Michi Johnson, the early enrollee freshman. Yep. Ky, do you think there's revenge coming for the Buckeyes?
I think so, Jim. Ohio State, we talked about Alabama being hot. Ohio State's hot, too. 3 straight wins, 3 against the spread. At Rutgers, at Illinois. Very impressive. I guess Purdue's been pretty hot, too, though, Jim. Also 3 state wins, also two road victories, Michigan State and Indiana. I like the revenge angle. Here's the difference between that first matchup, Ohio State Purdue, versus this one. EJ Liddell is back for this game. He missed that first game against Purdue. Obviously, he's their best player. He's Ohio State's best player, and he matters a ton against a Purdue front court that is very large, very intimidating. So with Liddell in the lineup, even with Sotos and Walker questionable, I'm not sure if they're playing tonight. I do lean towards Ohio State in this revenge spot, Matthew.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the lineups Ohio State's used to sort of adjust to life without their point guards, C.J. Walker and Jimmy Sotos. And Dwayne Washington is more than competent enough to handle the ball and initiate offense. It's Ohio State's team that scores through the interior. They don't isolate point guards for ball screen action. You don't necessarily need a dynamic player there. I think by moving Washington to that point guard spot and just putting more length around the other four positions, Ohio State's benefited from that. That's why you've seen 3 straight wins, 3 straight impressive efforts. I think both teams are buy low, trending in the upward direction. But Ohio State's one that I really think can make a big push here. I think they're finding a new identity, a little bit of a Ewing theory without C.J. Walker.
So matchup-wise here, I actually think that's the problem. I think you want to put Purdue in ball screens. You want to bring Edey and Trevion Williams out, make them move around, make them be mobile. That's how you beat Purdue's defense. It's super compact this year. They're 335th in defensive three-point attempt rate. And Ohio State's been pretty hot from the outside. It's just, are they going to create those shots if they're not running as many ball screens, if they don't have a true point guard setting other people up? But if they play through the post, Liddell could dominate inside. He's too quick, too strong for whatever Purdue throws him. They have length, but Liddell could put them all in foul trouble. So I do lean towards Ohio State, but I am not going to take anything on this one. This is a stay away for me.
Yeah, I was looking at the under here, Jim, but I was just perplexed to see Purdue play 71 possessions last game, or upstairs over 74 against Penn State. So I don't know what that was about. I guess Penn State maybe got a little more helter-skelter, but first game went under. I would be eyeing the under here, but that last result scares me a little bit.
Yeah, I think Penn State was fouling a lot late too, and Penn State just plays faster this year because the new coach with Jim Ferry, and they have no big guys, so they need to emphasize their guards. Yep. All right, let's go to ACC country. Matthew, your Blue Devils, Duke headed on the road to Pittsburgh. Whew, man, Duke is in trouble right now. They have struggled lately. Yes, Pittsburgh, meanwhile, has played great, but in 2021, they have only played Syracuse. So they've just gotten a couple doses of the 2-3 and dominated it. They had over 60 points in the second half against Syracuse this weekend. That is absolutely outrageous. Completely dominated the offensive glass. Matt, do your Blue Devils find a way to right the ship here, and can they battle on the defensive glass?
Defensively, I'm a little worried, especially seeing how effective Justin Champagne was in his return to the lineup. He was dominant in a surprise, sort of a Bill Murray type of return there against Syracuse. Yeah, I think there is a little bit of that system shock, Jim, playing against a non-zone for the first time in December 22nd was their last non-Syracuse game against Louisville. They lost that game. But I think Pitt is obviously trending in the right direction with, starting to get all hands back on deck. The key here for Duke, though, is that Jalen Johnson is reportedly fully healthy. They've sorely missed his presence, especially on the glass. I think that's the most underrated part of his game is he's such a good rebounder. And when they play him and Hurt at the two bigs, Hurt's not an elite rebounder by any means, right? They need that physical presence up front. Johnson can at least help, mitigate any offensive bloodbath on the boards. I like the Devils here, even at 3.5. I wouldn't touch anything above 3.5, 4. I liked it a lot at 3. I still like it at 3.5, Ky.
Yeah, a lot of respect given by odds makers at the opener here. Chris even opened this game Duke -1. So Panthers getting a lot of respect. They have been pretty good this year, guys, aside from that St. Francis opening game, which they lost. The two Syracuse smashes, maybe they just match up pretty well with the Orange this year for whatever reason. Duke still looking for a good win. Notre Dame, guys, still their best win. They have no victories over the KenPom Top 80. That's concerning. But this game kind of boils down to the same way Virginia Clemson did for me to a different sort of extent, meaning program over current season. And Duke's program the last few years by far outweighs Pitt's. Yep. They cannot only be a 3.5-point favorite. So I do like Duke as well in this one. That is a little high for me, by the way. From my number perspective, loved it at 2.5, 3. 3.5, and more so just leaning for the show.
Yep. I'm going to take 3.5. I think Duke blows them out. Ky, to your program point, here's the last 5 spreads between these two teams.
Right.
16.5, 12, 29, 20, and 16.
29.
Yeah, this has been a complete demolishing over the past seasons. I think, the performances of both to this point probably make sense here, but I think we see them both start to veer back towards their normal traditional trajectories here. So, yeah, I'm going Duke minus 3.5 on the road. Coach K taking down his pupil, Jeff Capel, his former bag man.
Former bag man.
All right, Ky, let's go to the chat mob. Give me some chat questions. Let's go through those for the first time.
Got some good ones rolling in. We'll start with Peter, the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Spread's gotten a little bit up there, guys, towards the Bulldogs. Jim, we'll start with you. What do you think?
Yeah, I lean towards the visiting Rebels here on the road. They've really been struggling lately, but I think their funky zone can mess with Mississippi State a little bit. That's not a team I really trust to shoot the ball, though they have been burning up from the perimeter. Irish and Molinar's up around 55%. I still lean towards the Rebels here. I think they get right. And even if you give me 2.5, 3, then that's solid value. So I'm not going to take it officially, but definitely lean towards Ole Miss.
Hard lean Rebels. You got to stop Stewart and Molinari. Should mention it. I think Kermit's too smart to let those two go off.
Yeah, and Stinky's Pig in the chat. Yeah, under seems like an obvious play in this game, just the way both teams have been playing. Well, you know what? Mississippi State, I should give Mississippi State credit. They've actually not been that terrible this year, to my surprise. Moving on. William asks about what he calls the game of the day in SEMO and Tennessee State.
Oh, yeah. Fire up, Red Hawks.
Fellas, I got to lean to the over, but I think one or both of you leans toward a side. Matthew?
I don't actually have a side lead in this one.
Okay.
My number did favor SEMO slightly. Was a little upset with the performance they had at home against Moorhead, even though Moorhead's been a wagon lately. Getting Chris Harris back, I thought they'd be a little more competitive in that game, coming off the really strong effort at Belmont. Maybe I look at that now as a letdown and they get back to playing like the true kind of feisty SEMO team that I've been buying into all year. So I would lean SEMO.
These two have already played. SEMO won in double overtime. They went 40 of 51 from the free throw line. That is insane. But the stats bear that out. They're like 26th in free throw rate. And I believe Tennessee State is 340th in defensive free throw rate. I wrote this up at Better IQ, so I have some of the facts off the top of my dome. I lean towards SEMO and the over here.
Yeah, lean SEMO as well. Jim, not our Jim, but a different Jim, asks about Butler and DePaul, the marquee matchup in the Big East today.
How do you know that wasn't me? Maybe I'm lurking in the chat.
Maybe it was you. This one flipped favorites for a quick second. Butler was favored by like 1, I think. They might still be favored by 1. DePaul opened up as a favorite. Fellas, we're kind of leaning towards Chicago's Big East team, aren't we, Jim?
Yeah, I think it's back to DePaul being favored. So there was a temporary time where Butler went ahead. But I lean DePaul. Butler off that huge OT win against Creighton. I think this sets up decently well for DePaul to get maybe their first Big East win. Although, famous last words, trusting DePaul after that UConn late game debacle. So, I won't take them officially at -1. I don't want them as a favorite, but I think DePaul wins.
Yeah, if DePaul swings back to a dog here, I would hop in for a little bit of a tiny dabble. We've been so frustrated about the letdown, the melt against Connecticut, but now we know how good Connecticut is. I think we've seen that team play enough. We have to give DePaul some credit for basically playing them neck and neck the whole way. The late game collapse notwithstanding. I would maybe keep your eye on looking at DePaul swing to a dog. I would pounce.
I can't read my own writing. I think it says Mikey. I'm sorry if it's not you. Miami versus Syracuse is a game we need to touch on. This line has come crashing down a little bit. Started at 6, I think. Now it's like 4.5. I mean, I love fading Syracuse, guys. This number's gotten a little bit too low for me to actually.
It has gotten too low. Though. That's the issue. It got too low. And sounds like the Canes could get McGusty back today. Yeah. I believe they're supposed to get Earl Timberlake, the key freshman who's been a really important piece for them on both ends. I believe he's supposed to return. Likes is still a ways away. But to me, I just want to get at least Timberlake or McGusty back. I think they need like that solid 8-man rotation. Their injuries have been all over the place this year. But when they've had like 8 guys in place, even without McGusty and Likes, they've been pretty solid.
Yeah, super feisty as a dog. I'm not going to recommend it down below 5. If you can get 5, I would take 5, though.
Jim, maybe 2 more before we continue on?
Works for me.
John's got a 2-pack for us. We got Illinois, Penn State, and also Oklahoma, Kent State. Illinois, Penn State.
Ohio, Kent State, I assume?
Oh, sorry. Kansas State. Oklahoma, Kansas State. Excuse me.
Oh, okay. Got it.
I wrote KSU. Starting Illinois, Penn State, I kind of lean towards Illinois angry home win here. Jim, are you with me?
Yes. After the first 10 minutes, they just dominated Penn State. I think they got down 15, but ended up winning by 17. That was on the road. And now they're playing at home after a loss to Ohio State. I think Illinois takes care of business here.
Yeah, Illinois, another one of those teams that we feel like would probably be a good live bet team, right? Just the massive in-game swings. And so maybe if you see a deja vu early deficit, I'd probably hop it on the Illini. They can put on a 22 run on anyone in a hurry. So I would definitely not be looking to take the Nittanies here.
They can go, what was it, 52 to 13.5 against Northwestern?
Yeah, we don't need to revisit that, Jim. Those are dark memories.
Yeah, guys, anything else for either of those games?
Oklahoma, Kansas State, I have absolutely nothing on, honestly.
Yeah, neither do
Kansas State should be getting Pack back, their point guard. But yeah, just don't touch K-State. You don't know who's playing for this team right now.
Yeah. All right, Jim, back to you. Let's go rundown.
All right, back to the rundown, Ky. That means we are headed to Columbia, the real Columbia, South Carolina at Misouri. Oh boy, our Tigers. Man, it's just another year, another terrible shooting team out of the Tigers, Ky. We're 330th in three-point percentage. That's bad. Unfortunately, South Carolina, or fortunately rather, South Carolina doesn't really make you shoot from the perimeter. Instead, they will foul you and put you on the free throw line, and that is more of the strength of the Tigers' game. Ky, do we get it done at home here against the posers from Columbia East?
It's really strange, Jim. For some reason, really physical teams a la Mississippi State, a la South Carolina, kind of makes me worried as a Tiger fan. I feel like we always lose these gritty games, which is ironic because Mizzou's whole identity this year under Cuonzo Martin and last couple of years has been gritty and physical. I do lean towards the Tigers. Having said that, shaky ball handling for the Gamecocks is not good against Drew Smith, who has racked up over 2 steals per game. This season, he's very good on the ball. The Tigers' defense is just awesome this year, guys. 18th in the country per KenPom. South Carolina's pressure on the other end, though, does worry me a little bit, Matt. The Tigers are going to have to make free throws because South Carolina will send them there, and I don't see Mizzou scoring easily any other way.
Yeah, you got to check on South Carolina's roster availability for this game. But the key guy they got back last game was Keyshawn Bryant, had 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists off the bench. With him and Lawson, they're two kind of Swiss Army knives at the point of attack. They make a lot happen. I actually lean South Carolina here, but it's just such an unpredictable game in terms of how the game will be refereed. As Jim mentioned, the Gamecocks love to hack, and that's the ultimate bailout for Mizzou, who has been basically subsidizing poor shooting with, just racking up points, death by 1,000 paper cuts at the charity stripe. So I think that bodes well for Mizzou. My number likes South Carolina, so I will probably be on South Carolina small here. Although I see the numbers come down a little bit out of my price range. Or actually, no, it's actually up, excuse me. It's at 6 now, correct?
People like the Tigers, man.
It's been fluctuating. Okay, yeah. I'm going to add South Carolina then at 6. I'm sorry, guys.
Hey,
good luck.
I'll burn the flag in Jim's background there.
Yeah, South Carolina probably dominates the offensive glass. That is a worry. And however, Mizzou has covered 3 straight in our own Columbia against Frank Martin. So, maybe you're betting against a trend there, Matthew. But go Tigers. Go Tigers. All right, let's move on. A top 5 team that has not played since before Christmas, Villanova. They are hosting Seton Hall tonight, finally getting back on the court. Oh, it's good to see you again, Wildcats. However, Seton Hall hasn't played since January 9th either. They've been off for a little while due to, I think, COVID issues with their opponents. All right, Ky, actually, we'll go to Matt. We'll go to Matt here first. Do you think Villanova comes out gangbusters after their time off with everyone cleared through COVID protocol, or do you think there's some rust for them?
No, I think we've learned the last couple of weeks the COVID shutdowns at this point aren't as detrimental as they were to start the year. So I'm looking at this as just a straight up handicap, as if these two teams were in the swing of the season. And for that reason, I actually do like the Wildcats here. It sounds like they're close to fully healthy. Brian Antoine, the surprising news is that he will dress, but Wright says he's probably a ways away. I'm still holding out hope that he can come back this season. I still lean the Wildcats. A tough matchup though is Sandro Mamu. You got to guard him. I think Jeremiah Robinson Earl can maybe check him, but that's the tough mismatch that that Jay Wright needs to worry about tonight.
Yeah, long layoff, guys. December 23rd, last time they played. But I think everyone's forgotten about Villanova a little bit. They are a top 5 team. They're maybe the 3rd best team in the country. Heck, they might be even Baylor Gonzaga level by the end of the year. I know that might be a little bit bridge too far. Seton Hall though, 6-2 in the Big East, man. They've really been playing well. They did get beat by Creighton by around 36 points ish. That wasn't good, but I'm not worried about the Cats being rusty out of a shutdown. This is a veteran team. This is a very continuous team. I think those teams play better out of shutdowns versus teams relying on. Yeah, I know, Jim. That's not a word.
I love that you make it a word. I genuinely love it. It's
smirking. generally the teams that struggle out of shutdowns, in my opinion, maybe it's just anecdotal here, are freshman teams and teams with lots of transfers. Neither of those apply to Villanova. They're physical. They play extremely hard. So the spread is very high. It's around 9 points right now, but I still think Nova is a solid play. Certainly a lean for me against Seton Hall.
I made this number exactly what it is. I have no take on the side. Seton Hall hasn't been what they usually are defensively under Kevin Willard. I think the personnel isn't quite the same, with when they had McKnight in the backcourt last year and Gill in the front court. It was a little bit of a better version of Obiagu. So I kind of lean towards the over. I think both teams can score a little bit, but I'm not sure on the tempo coming out of the shutdown. So I'm not strong enough to make the over a play here. Okay, nothing there, unfortunately, for us. Let's go to Maryland at Michigan. Last game on the outline, and we will hit our best bets. Maryland has been a road warrior in the Big Ten, guys. They've already won at Illinois and at Wisconsin. That's super impressive. However, Michigan coming off that really disheartening loss on the road to Minnesota. Ky, do you think the Wolverines are just too angry here, or does Maryland actually get another road win?
Yeah, I mean, credit Michigan, guys. They had to go on the road against the best team in the country. That is home Minnesota, by the way, for those keeping track at home. Prove me wrong. Spot the lie. They get Maryland fresh off a win at Illinois. A fantastic win for Maryland. They've beaten Wisconsin and Illinois on the road. They are strangely road warriors this year, which I don't think is something you can say about Turgeon's teams in the recent past here. They also stomped a D2 team for some reason in between these two games. I don't know why that was on the schedule.
Wingate. They had to play Wingate, baby.
Yeah, I just think this Michigan team's on a whole different level than Maryland. So I lean towards them, but man, I can't ignore the fact how feisty the Terps have been as a dog mat in Big Ten play.
Yeah, these two teams already squared off once this season. Michigan had to pull away late to hold on because Maryland was unconscious from behind the arc, but Michigan scored pretty much at will when they had the ball on offense. 24 of 32 for inside the arc. Hunter Dickinson, 10 of 11 for 26 points. Yeah. I mean, Maryland, kind of this small ball type lineup, right? The whole cat and mouse chess game of 5 out, spread you out on Maryland's side of the ball versus Michigan trying to ground and pound inside. The advantage, I think, leans toward the latter, especially with the spot for setting up so well for Michigan coming off the tough loss to Minnesota. So the Wolverines are probably the right side here, but the number's a little too rich for my blood.
Injury notes here. Morcell missed most of that game. That was when he got popped in the face and had to miss time. And now Ayala is probably back for Maryland for this one. Turgeon said he'll play off the bench, but we're not sure what his workload will be. It'll be depending on how he feels. And then the Michigan side, Eli Brooks missed last game. And I think there's some debate about how important he is. I would say I'm on the low end of the spectrum for how much he matters, but that result at Minnesota would indicate he's super important. So we'll see. Keep an eye on Brooks' status as well for the Wolverines. I lean towards Michigan. I think the matchup is great for them, and they get a little bit of a bounce-back victory here, but not locking it in. Guys, let's stop dancing around. Let's stop waffling. Let's get to our best bets. Put those on the line. Ky, I know yours has already come up, but maybe some people joined the show late, so let's reiterate for the people.
For those that missed it, Alabama +1 is my best bet of the day. Rolling with the hot Tide. Roll Tide, Matt.
Roll damn Tide. I'm sorry, Ky. I'm not with you on that one, but I wish you both luck. My best bet, inspired from a chat question, Ed R. asked about a couple of Maction showdowns today. Buffalo. I see this line's climbed up to 4. I want to make sure I get that accurate before I lock it in. But they are heading to Bowling Green, who has been on fire the last few games.
Akron.
I was kind of...
Akron's heading to Bowling Green.
Who is Buffalo playing? Oh, Kent
Buffalo's
State. Sorry,
playing Kent State.
Thank you. I do like Buffalo here in this matchup against Kent State. The key thing here is Danny Pippen's health. I just think he is the team is so leveraged on his performance, and his knees are so wonky. If you watch this guy play, he's a super freak, can shoot it, can do everything. But he kind of lumbers sometimes. And I think throughout the course of the year, you'll see certain spells where Pippen won't play well. Kent State sort of suffers. And Buffalo's a legit team. I think they need this one badly, and I think the Bulls get it done on the road tonight. So that is my best bet at +4.
Matt, joining you at +4. I'm riding both of your guys' best bets. I'm supportive, even though I know you're probably not going to support mine, which is frustrating.
We'll see. Test us.
My best bet is also in the MAC, Matthew. I am taking Ohio on the road at Northern Illinois. Ohio coming off a frustrating loss, But Northern Illinois cannot stop them defensively. It should be a bloodbath on that end of the court. Northern Illinois is like near the bottom of the country in 2-point percentage defense. Ohio near the top on offense. So Northern Illinois has been packing the paint, and that doesn't work against Ohio either. They've been lights out from the perimeter. Jason Preston is back. Mark Sears played well in his absence, just increasing the depth that Bulls has. So I think Ohio blows them out on the road. Give me the Bobcats minus, let me check.
Oh, someone's saying it's canceled, Jim.
Oh, no. That would be
that's a push. That's a push. Take that.
It's a push, yeah. All right. Let's see.
Chat mob questions, Jim?
Yeah, go chat mob. I will come up with another best bet in the interim.
I got a few here as well, Ky, but start us off.
All right, here we go. We got Carlisle, Oregon State, USC. Guys, as much as I hate to say it, I'm leaning towards the Beavers. Double-digit spread at home. Yes, I know USC's been good. I know the Beavers suck. I'm leaning towards the Beavers.
I've been the token Oregon State's terrible pundit on this program. I think this line is fairly inflated. So, yeah, I will take 10 or anything above 10 with the Beavers there.
Yeah, I lean towards the Beavers, but, oh boy, not strongly with that team.
Ryan asks about UNC Asheville, Gardner-Webb. Boy, we loved UNC Asheville, man, at like 3 points. It's come down quite a bit. 1 or 2, I think, is where it's at. Maybe even 1 right now.
Oh, yeah, it's at 1.
But I still lean towards Asheville. I think they win this game.
I do too. This would have been my best bet if 3 was still around. So I'm still scrambling for my best bet. You know what? I will go with Colorado State for my best bet. I've ridden that team a bunch this year. It makes me real nervous playing that massive Utah State lineup, but I think they should be able to hang around. Just don't get down 20 early like they did at San Diego State. That's all I'm asking of you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So yeah, plus 7.5 Utah or Colorado State. That'll be my best bet.
Alec, nice timing with this one. Akron, Bowling Green, since Matt didn't cover it. He faked me out. Sorry, Matt. I thought you were going with Akron.
Fake.
I do like Akron against Bowling Green. Definitely leaning towards the Zips in that one.
I do too. Coming off an awesome home overtime win against Toledo, so you could argue it's a letdown spot. But I think they're solid. You know, they struggled early integrating some new pieces. But it's just nice knowing that I think the best player on the floor in this game resides on Akron's team and Lauren Christian Jackson, not on Bowling Green, which used Turner. So I'm just that big of a fan of LCJ and what he does. So I will be taking the Zips as well, Ky at +5.
Durko asks about UNC Wilmington and Towson. This is the early tip, just like yesterday. Hey, guys, I was kind of a scaredy cat, and I didn't put my money where my number was. I had Towson as a play yesterday, and I was scared. I didn't play him. Zane Martin is back in the lineup. I lean towards them again today. I don't think they're that bad of a team, and they obviously won yesterday. So I'm leaning towards Towson again.
I lean Towson too. They have such a dominance on the glass, and I just don't. I love UNC Wilmington. I'm not sure they should be favored at Towson, so lean towards there, but not going to take it. I'm also getting a correction from the chat. I will take the +8 on Colorado State.
All right, take it.
That hook might matter. So thank you, Mark Holmes, for putting that out. It is +8 out there.
All right, just one more. And it's another MAC game. Ball State, Miami from Nick. Ball State, Miami of Ohio. Ball State's rolling, man, lately. I got to lean towards the Cardinals in this one. Matt, you're kind of a Miami, Ohio guy, though. For some reason,
I have them rated too highly. I had them rated too highly all last year. I almost took Miami in this one, but the fact that Ball State got Jerron Coleman, their point guard, back, it reads like they're going to start to integrate him more. I was just the fact that Ball State played as competently as they did without their point guard and one of their key interior enforcers inside. I'm blanking on his name right now, but Reggie Jones, maybe. That's pretty impressive. I think they only will improve. So I want no part of the Red Hawks here.
Yeah, I have nothing. I probably lean towards Ball State, but nothing strong at all.
All right, your show, Jim.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm sorry I had to scramble on my best bet. That really had me disheveled. I was frazzled.
That's COVID.
Yeah, that'll do it. I just Googled it. It was 23 minutes ago was the release. So mid-show, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Check out sbrodds.com. Compare lines. Do all your shopping there. Make sure you get that best value. The points do matter. Those half points are crucial. Also, check out sbrpicks.com/NCAAB, the URL at the top of your screen. A lot of great resources there from our friends at sportsbookreview.com. And once again, like this video, subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/SBRsports. That is enormously helpful, so make sure you do that, and we will keep coming back daily, giving you our best bets and leans as much as possible. So with that, we'll be back tomorrow on Wednesday morning at the same time We will see you then.